Ooh, not very nice weather, is it?
That is really, really good. Oh my god, so will it just stay clean like this forever then?
It should do. Well, no, not forever. No, you have to sort of snow foam it and give it a... Check the inside out. I know it's raining, so it's not good, but...
Wow.
They're like totally spanglized, and they treated all the inside surfaces so the water should like not sink in.
Shall we begin?
Hiya!
Let's begin.
What's wrong, Jasper? You got a little shy? Whoa, dude! That was very quick. Be careful in the house, won't you?
Let's begin.
Wow, the place has turned into a madhouse. Right, what I'm talking about today is, I think, probably the Ionity network, which is basically a grouping of 4 major automakers, so BMW, Daimler, Ford, and the VW group, you know, the likes of Audi and Porsche. They are committing to building a large network of multi-charging point per station quick chargers, and they're going to be CCS up to 350 kilowatts, so relatively future-proof. I'm very excited about it, but I did just want to explain, well, why I didn't mention it firstly in the video from a few days ago. The obvious reason was that when I shot the video, I didn't know about it because it hadn't been announced. The other reason is that I like to maintain a fairly large amount of pressure on the EV makers that I don't think are actually really fully bought into the concept, because, you know, I think that's just a good thing to do. The only reason they're doing anything around charging is in response to what Tesla is doing, most likely. And basically what holds them back is the fact that they have petrol and diesel cars, which they also sell, so they don't have the same need to make electric vehicles work. They're happy to just go, well, we make some EVs, there are no quick chargers, so just use them in the local area. And if only a few people buy them, that suits them right down to the ground, because it means everyone else is going out and buying their existing lineup of cars. Tesla, on the other hand, because they only make EVs, they have no choice but to make them work for the largest group of people that they can, and that's why they're bought into the concept of the supercharger network to such a high degree. It's maintaining pressure. That's the thing. I like to maintain pressure because I don't honestly think they'll do it if they don't have that pressure, because you won't reach a large selection of the population if an EV can only drive easily 50, 100 miles away from where you live. People want to be able to do longer journeys than that, as was proved by Nissan, actually, ironically. Back in the day, they released the 24 kilowatt hour Nissan Leaf, and they were very clear about the fact this was really just a city car, just local area, and yet people very quickly decided that they wanted to drive across the country, and there just was no infrastructure to support that, so they would do what they could to get along in the car. But this was sort of early adopter owners. That's not going to work for pushing things out to a larger audience, which is why that quick charge infrastructure is so key. It sounds like over the next couple of years, we're going to be getting there with a really strong alternative to the supercharger network. It'll be interesting to see what people like Renault and Nissan in particular do to respond to that, because their cars don't use CCS. It's going to be a bit of a mess, bit of an incompatibility thing. I don't think the Ionity network is going to support CHAdeMO at all. So if you're in a Nissan Leaf, you're going to need some support from your manufacturer or the group of manufacturers that are into CHAdeMO. Around the UK, we're extremely lucky. If you're in a CHAdeMO car, then you kind of already got the Supercharger Lite network anyway in the Ecotricity electric highway. most of the motorway service stations, in fact I think all the motorway service stations, have got at least 2 CHAdeMO quick chargers. So it's really doable. You just need a slightly longer range than the 30 kilowatt hour Leaf and you're golden. But across Europe, that's a different question. Right, now I can hear them in the background tucking into Saturday lunch, so I'm going to go join them. We are going to fireworks night. We are not going in my car because the road is still damp. I can see this is going to be a problem from now on, isn't it? Guys, go check out the fireworks. Here we go.
Hot dog.
Yes, you can.
Hot
Is that all you got?
That was one awesome firework display, principally because it was free. And it's, you know, it's always nice to do something in the local community, I think. Right, let's jump back to EVs for a little bit to sort of round off today's vlog post. I think when it comes to charging infrastructure for long distance, there is a need to show the public that it can work. Because I still speak to people that go, oh, it's totally impossible. You'd need such massive power inputs to a site. You'd never be able to make it work. It's going to cause the grid to grind to a halt and all this sort of thing. And they won't be dissuaded by anything except seeing it. Of course, the irony is, if they trundle along to your local 20-bay supercharger, what they will see there is basically a smaller version of what will be everywhere for long distance travel in 5 to 10 years, in my opinion. Whether this is going to be the Ionity network, some third-party solution, the idea of having lots and lots of charge bays where people stop, plug in for half an hour, they go get their food, is actually a really, really good model for the service station industry. You know, motorway service stations I'm talking about, because they get their customers stay for the right sort of length of time, they leave with fully charged cars having experienced no inconvenience beyond going to have lunch, which presumably they would want to do anyway, the vast majority of them, and I see absolutely no reason why it can't work. I mean, it works for Tesla, so, and this is supported by a survey that I was just reading about a minute ago. It's Sainsbury's Bank have done a sort of 2,000 respondent survey where they've asked questions about when people expect to own an electric vehicle, when they would consider buying one. 23% say they expect to own one in 5 years. 41%, I think it was, said they expect to own one over 10 years. So that's very encouraging. However, the number who think they're likely to buy one in the next sort of 6 months, it's about 3%. And what that basically indicates is that the public expects EVs to get there, but they don't think that the current crop of vehicles supports what they would need that car for. They need more range at a cheaper price. I think if you said to them you can go out and have a Tesla Model S or X and it'll cost you between £25,000 and £35,000, I think you'd find quite a large proportion of the people who were asked that question would go, yeah, I think an EV is in my immediate future. And you could say, okay, well, these are luxury cars, blah, blah. But if you take the performance out, you know, the interior appointment is not that luxurious, in my opinion. You know, what really makes these cars special is the fact that they have a great big whopping electric range. And they have all the benefits that come with being a custom designed electric vehicle, as in not losing a load of space to a petrol tank and a, you know, petrol engine, and having to have all the sort of gubbins that go along with that constrain the design of the vehicle. I love having the space in my car. It's one of the things that I miss most the second I go anywhere near any other cars. I think the future's bright, and it's interesting to see what massive quick charger installations are gonna look like in the future. And I do hope that they're not all just Tesla. I don't think they will be. At the moment, if you want to see what it will look like for everyone else in 3 to 5 years' time, a big supercharger installation is the place to head. I think that's probably all I've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's vlog post and found it interesting. If you have, remember to like it, share it and subscribe if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram if you don't already, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next instalment of my daily vlog. Bye. Thanks. Girly scream. I went woo!
Yeah,
exactly. That was a spontaneous reaction to my